So it looks like Michael Venom Page and Carlos Prates, they might actually fight each other at UFC Rio, which is very, very soon. And, we talked about yesterday or in the last video, we talked about Sean Strickland and Khamzat Chimaev potentially happening on short notice after Khamzat just fought. Well, now we're talking about Carlos Prates fighting Michael Venom Page, two guys that fought on this card even sooner. And this is a fight night. Could they really go have a guy like Leon Edwards be on a co-main event, a fight like Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates, the co-main event? Not so sure about that either. So I do want to discuss that for sure, guys. Carlos Prates and, like I said, Michael Venom Page, they both fought very different performances. Michael Venom Page looked pretty boring. I mean, Michael Venom Page either has the best performances or the most boring, because sometimes he gets these knockouts that are just so unbelievable that happen out of nowhere, out cold, highlight reel, crazy shit. And then the other bit of it, I mean, honestly, most of it, to be honest, is boring. It's mostly the bouncing around, the point fighting, right? And look, you could say it's high skilled, whatever, but we all know, obviously, it does get a little boring sometimes. Carlos Prates coming out with the opposite approach, knocking out Jeff Neal for the first time in Jeff Neal's career with a spinning elbow. Even before that, it wasn't like he just got a knockout out of nowhere. He was destroying Jeff Neal. Jeff Neal, I thought, looked good. Maybe in the first 30 to 60 seconds, I honestly was like, hey, maybe Jeff Neal could win this. I remember thinking, but it literally fell apart. Jeff Neal then lands that, or not Jeff Neal, Carlos Prates lands that spinning elbow on Jeff Neal, knocking him out cold. And yeah, he was out for a while. He was down for a while, and I think he even went to the hospital. Carlos Prates, if you guys recall afterwards, he wanted to fight somebody at UFC Rio. This is the Brazil card that is happening. And like I said, a little less than 2 months at this point now. He's trying to get on this. This one obviously a little more easier than the Khamzat situation, because you don't need to put Prates on a pay-per-view card. You could put him anywhere, and specifically this one is going to be, it seems like, a Brazilian fight night. The main event we know is Charles Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev. It was confirmed via the UFC broadcast per Dana White himself. Carlos Prates will get a fight for UFC Rio. So we don't know who it will be. It could be literally anybody random off the street. I mean, I still wouldn't take this as set in stone, to be honest. You never know. Sometimes people are very hard to find to sign a contract. I'm trying to say, like, especially on short notice, especially against a guy who just came off of a crazy knockout. I'm not sure. Are they really going to give him a no-name guy? Like, I really don't think guys like Leon Edwards would be willing to, but I will discuss more about who could be likely, and we'll actually take a look at the rankings. But someone that was interested was, like I said, Michael Venom Page, who fought earlier that night, said at the post-fight press conference, guys, take a look at this. Apparently, Michael Venom Page right here, he said that he would be willing to take on Carlos Prates at UFC Rio on October 11th, and he would obviously not be the fan favorite there. He would be booed in Brazil, and I actually like this fight. Obviously, both of them are strikers, you know what I mean? So right off the bat, you would like this fight. You would think this fight is good. However, I just don't think that the UFC are interested in this fight, and I will explain why, but here's what Carlos Prates had to say. He responded to Michael Venom Page's call out. I want to play it for you now.
And you called out Leon Edwards for UFC Rio. Dana White obviously said you get that spot, but I don't know if you've heard, Michael Venom Page was back here, and we asked about that fight, and he said he would 100% take the fight against you at UFC Rio on October 11th. Wow. So would that be a fight you would be interested in if Leon doesn't take the fight?
Bro, anybody who step on the cage on Rio, 11 October, I will be there. The first option, of course, Leon. I'm here to fight against the best guys in the world. Then I can prove I'm the best in the world. So anyway, anybody who step on the cage, I'm going to be there.
If it is Michael Venom Page, what do you make of his style in there? Because
it's going to be good. It's going to be a really interesting fight. He inspired me for a long time.
Oh, wow.
So if UFC give me him, that's okay. Let's fight.
He said he wants a 5-round co-main event fight. Is that what you want too?
Yeah, I really enjoyed to fight last time, 5 rounds. Let's see, I'm gonna celebrate a little bit, and then gonna back in the gym 2 weeks. I'm gonna think about 5 rounds or 2,
Yeah, appreciate the honesty from Carlos. Appreciate the honesty. He's like, yo, you know what? I gotta get to training. I gotta see how I feel. I just trained for 3 rounds. Already taking a fight on short notice, so let's relax on the 5 round. I guess that is asking for too much, because if it was Leon versus Carlos, I think that would have to be 5 rounds. That is a great fight. And if they actually were to do something like Charles Oliveira versus Rafael Fiziev, co-main event, Carlos Prates, Leon Edwards for UFC Rio, I might have to fly to Rio myself, because that is better than some pay-per-views we've gotten this year. A lot better than some other pay-per-views we've gotten this year. There's been a few stinker pay-per-views, let's be honest, guys. So this fight night would be absolutely insane. Like, 2 dope, I think, fights. I mean, this is just 2 great fights. We don't need anything else. Not titles. There's nothing super crazy on the line. Just Great fights. I love it. That is who he called out. I don't think that's going to happen. I think that this Michael Venom Page versus Carlos Prates fight it's possible for sure, but there are, I think, a few hurdles in the way. Number one, as I said, Carlos Prates clearly is someone that the UFC wants to promote, that they want to put so much behind. Do they really want to risk putting Carlos up against MVP, someone that he has sparred now, that we've just heard that apparently they have sparred before, and MVP was very eager to, fight Carlos Prates? To me, maybe that kind of indicates that they're, training sessions. Clearly, I don't think Michael Venom Page would be down to take him on short notice if he was getting absolutely battered in those training sessions. So clearly, this is at the best case a competitive fight. Maybe Michael Venom Page even feels super confident going in there. I don't know. I'm only guessing here. So will the UFC really want to do that? Because what do they really get in return with a Michael Venom Page win? He's up there in age. I don't know if he's too good to give to these prospects. That's my opinion. So I think that's a huge problem. I also think a really big problem, because that problem could go away because of short notice. What is an even bigger problem is that MVP had this fight at 185, and granted, he's been a 170 pounder his whole career, most of his life, and maybe he could easily go back down to 170, but at the end of the day, I feel like 185, he looked pretty big out there. He looked big. Jared Cannonier has fought at light heavyweight and heavyweight. He looked big. And 170, that's going to require a lot of cutting weight, a lot of dieting. Will he even get to training this camp? Or is it literally just going to be, all right, I got to get in shape. I got to make 170. I don't know. Or do they do a catch weight? That wouldn't be a bad idea at short notice anyway. I don't know if it's that short notice to do a catch weight. I don't know if they'd be down 180 or something like that. And especially, like I said, and even so, that's even worse because, like I said, they already probably don't want to make the Carlos MVP fight. So I don't know if this fight is going to realistically happen. It makes sense timing-wise. I believe both guys are down, but I don't think the UFC are going to be interested in the fight ultimately. So I want to take a look right now, guys. These are some of the most important rankings in the world, guys. We have the welterweight rankings, right? We have the top 15. Michael Venom Page at 15. Just beat number 9, Jared Cannonier. So I'm curious how that's going to work. Is he now going to be at the middleweight rankings or whatever? Well, I guess at the time this video comes out, the rankings will be out. So I guess you guys will find out. But these are, as of today, as of right now, the top 5 right now for welterweight, right? So we got Bilal Muhammad, someone that, look, that is possible. I could see Bilal Muhammad saying, I'm willing to take a short notice opportunity if I get a title shot pretty quickly. That's always something, but I don't know if they're actually going to want to do that. I think Bilal, same case, too good to, to sacrifice to these, too good to have prospects be sacrificed to him. You know what I mean? Sean Brady, that would be a good fight. I would like that fight a lot, and I wouldn't be surprised if Sean Brady takes that just because he's in a position that you would probably need to. Shavkat Rakhmonov, maybe Shavkat, but, he could be injured. Honestly, maybe there are quite a few names, to be honest. Ian Gary, he already fought. Kamaru Usman, I don't think he would be down. He seems to be very picky in who he fights nowadays. Doubt Leon's going to be down. Then you got guys like Michael Morales. That would be a crazy fight. You got guys like Joaquin Buckley coming off of a loss. Maybe he's down to redeem himself. Colby Covington, maybe. I don't think so, but I was surprised he fought Joaquin Buckley. Gilbert Burns, perhaps. I think that I wouldn't really like that so much. Like I said, Carlos Prates, I think I wouldn't mind Michael Morales. I wouldn't mind Joaquin Buckley. I would really love Sean Brady, really love Shavkat Rakhmonov. Extremely, very much, probably cry of happiness like Leon Edwards versus Carlos Prates is a fight I've wanted to see for a long time. It's going to be a striker fight. And I honestly think Carlos Prates would win that one. So I think if you're trying to build him up, this is the fight I think the UFC should try to throw all their money at. Ultimately, what winds up happening? What does my gut tell me? I really don't know, guys. Honestly, it's tough to say. I'm gonna say something crazy. I'm gonna say Joaquin Buckley. I think Joaquin Buckley is gonna decide, hey, look, I want to, emerge myself back. I want to get a win back, and it makes sense for both guys. Joaquin Buckley, if he loses to Carlos, maybe this is them saying, hey, you know what? We're gonna start sacrificing you to some very high level guys now, or maybe Carlos Prates loses to Joaquin Buckley. I don't know. Honestly, I can see Joaquin beating Prates. That is actually a really good fight. I didn't even take time to think about who would win. There's a lot of options, guys. Let me know what you guys think in the comment section below. What fight do you want to make for the Carlos Prates? Guys, you guys are the best fan base MMA. Check out my last video, like I said, where I talked about Sean Strickland versus Khamzat Chimaev and just kind of ranted about Sean Strickland. Guys, you guys are the best fan base MMA. Hit the subscribe button, like, comment, and share, and I'll see you guys in the next one.